Have you been living a life trapped in the grip of sex addiction, behaving in ways that bring you shame and heartache and bring you an untrust in yourself because you have been promising yourself so many times you're going to stop and you haven't been able to? I understand the frustration and the hopelessness of it all. I have discovered 5 strategies to break free from the horrific grip of sex addiction. And for years and years and years, I was under the control and the power of active sex addiction, and I was living in ways that were just breaking my morals and values, and I was living far beneath any expectation I had of myself. Can you relate to that? My sex addiction brought me from a very deplorable state of mind and body, a completely broken spirit, to a life that is free from that horrific grip. And these 5 strategies are the same strategies I'm giving you that have helped me break free from the horrific grip of sex addiction. There are 5 strategies. Now, you have to be completely dedicated and understand these 5 strategies. And you must be in a place where you are open to these 5 strategies for you to succeed. Of these 5 strategies, all of them must be a place where you're at for you to break free from the horrific grip of sex addiction. If you're not in line with these 5, it's very unlikely that you're at a point and you're ready to break free from this addiction that has been bringing you to a state of hopelessness and isolation and loneliness. So let's get right to it. We're going to get right into the 5. I'm going to show you the 5 first, and then we're going to talk about it. The first one of the 5 is you must be done. And when are you done? You're done when you're done. That's what my spiritual advisor said to me. You're done when you're done. Number 2, the second strategy, mentorship. You simply find someone who has what you want, who's been where you are, you do what they do, and you'll get what they have. I'm going to go over that again in a minute. Strategy number 3, honesty in all matters. Strategy number 4, open-mindedness. You must be open-minded to an entirely new design of living, thinking, and behaving. And number 5, willingness to do whatever it takes. You must be in line with these 5 strategies for you to break free from that grip of sex addiction. The sex addiction that has been destroying you, that has been making you feel inferior, filling yourself with shame and guilt and unworthiness, believing that you're unlovable because of this, believing you're dirty and you're not worthy of anybody's love. It is time to end it all. And these 5 strategies is what you'll need to end it and begin a life free from what has been holding you captive for the last several years or decades. I'm a recovering sex addict. I was in the horrific grips of sex addiction that were just horrific. It brought my life to a state of demoralization. I had no morals and values. I was living so carelessly and recklessly that it ultimately put handcuffs on my wrists because I just was in such a deplorable condition of mind and body. And I am grateful today to be nearly 11 years free from the, again, I often reference the horrific grip because for me it was just so horrific. It was truly horror being wrapped in the grips of sex addiction, and I'm free. And these 5 strategies have worked for me, and I believe they'll work for you. So let's reiterate now the 5 strategies one at a time. The first one is you must be done. You must be done. My spiritual advisor said to me one day, he actually asked me the question and then he gave me the answer. He said to me, Rob, do you know when you're done? I didn't really know how to answer that. He says, well, you're done when you're done. And you're done when you're done. Are you done? Are you done with acting out in sexual ways that are destroying your life and making you feel miserable? Are you done? Are you done with this? It's really that simple. If you're not done, if you have reservations, if you're going to negotiate with your sex addiction, I'll do it on weekends. I'll watch porn only on Sundays. I'll only go to the sex club on Fridays. If you're going to negotiate with your sex addiction, you're not done. You can't negotiate with something this powerful and this horrific and this grueling. You cannot. You will fail repeatedly. And if you're still going to negotiate with your sex addiction, you're not ready. You're not ready for this process. You're not going to break free from the horrific grip of sex addiction. It's just not going to happen in your life. You have to be done. You have to be at such a place of desperation and hopelessness that sex addiction is nothing for you to negotiate with. When you're done, when you've washed your hands of this, the first strategy and you are in alignment. If you can look at me right now, eye to eye, and say, Rob, I'm done, then we can move on. If you legitimately can say, I'm done, we can move on and I can help you free yourself from sex addiction. But you must be done. And I don't want to keep reiterating that over and over and bore you here, but you really have to be done. And it's so hard to be done with something so powerful, something that feels so good. These behaviors feel good. Why? Because your brain is releasing dopamine and all these high chemicals that makes you feel so good. It's very hard to stop those behaviors. Negotiating with sex addiction is a common theme in sex addicts. And you try to control it, minimize it, and only use it once in a while. Then get in denial that it's really not that bad when you know it is. You know it's destroying you. Perhaps your life is still okay. You're a functioning sex addict. But deep down inside, it is hurting you. It's tearing you apart. The lying, the cheating, feeling dirty, feeling unworthy, feeling unlovable. If only people knew what I was doing. Watching pornography for hours or cruising for hours or hitting those sex clubs, and now you're worried about STDs and risky sexual behavior. I mean, all these things are so destructive. It's exhausting. It's exhausting. And if you're done, we can move on. So continue watching if you're done. Strategy number 2, mentorship. This is simple. You have to have a mentor. You have to find someone who has what you want, who's been where you are. You do what they do, you get what they have. I'm going to say that again. You find someone who has what you want, who's been where you are. You do what they do, you get what they have. How simple. You can use that strategy in all areas of life. You want to build a business. You want to build a car engine. You want to build a house. I mean, whatever it is you want to do, you find someone who's done it before, and then you do what they do, and you'll get what they have. The house, the car engine, whatever the case may be. So it works here. It works. You find someone who's been at a hopeless, desperate state, stuck in that horrific grip of sex addiction. What did they do to get out of it? What did they do to break free from it? What steps and strategies did they take to be free today? You just do what they do. They set the roadmap. I have that roadmap. I did it. Now I'm a recovering sex addict. And in some of my other videos, you'll see that once you are an addict, the addict mind is always with you. The addict mind doesn't die. The addict mind doesn't take a vacation. You can live a life, a wonderful, healthy life, but the sex addict mind will always come with you. But life can be wonderful. And you could put, so to speak, that disease in remission. And you can live a great life free from the grip. But you need a mentor. and you just follow the steps the mentor did, and I can mentor you. My program can take you from where you are now to a life of freedom, a life of success. It could take you to a life where you are a healthy, thriving individual. The methodology that I've learned in well over a decade now, free from sex addiction, that methodology, my mentorship, can give you a life where you are a healthy, thriving individual, finally happy and content and peaceful. It's possible for you, but you need the mentor, and you need to be done. Number three, strategy number three, honesty. Real simple. Darkness lives in darkness. Darkness thrives in darkness. So sex addiction is a form of darkness. It's a form of isolation and shame and guilt and all of those self-loathing qualities, self-hatred, self-abusing, talking down to yourself. I call it the darkness of sex addiction. When you really get in that darkness, you need to turn the light on. If you walk in a room and you turn the light on, darkness disappears. So you need to turn the light on to your sex addiction. You need to be honest about all things with someone, another human being, or a program that you're involved with, or a group, or here with Academy of Life Change. You have to be honest about all things. That's turning the light switches on. And as you turn on those light switches, the darkness starts disappearing. And when you turn light on your sex addiction, when you turn the switches on all those behaviors sexually that you're addicted to, and you get honest about them and share them, and then learn and practice to continue being honest and sharing about them, then you start doing it not after the fact. You start talking about them honestly before the fact. You talk about your cravings and urges and desires ahead of time. So you could turn that light switch on. And then you know what? It doesn't have power. It loses its power. But you have to be honest. You have to be honest with yourself. One of the most difficult things for anybody is to find out the truth, learn the truth, and tell the truth about themselves to themselves. The hardest thing for anyone is to be truthful with themselves. Can you be truthful with yourself about your sex addiction? Can you be honest with yourself? Get rid of that denial that everything's okay. It's not okay. It's not okay. Can you be honest? And can you share it with another human being? Honestly. And understand that as you turn the lights on, your power will come back, and the power of sex addiction will begin to wade away. And that's what I want you to achieve. Power for yourself. Let's take a look at strategy number 4. Open-mindedness. You must be open-minded to an entirely new way of living, thinking, and behaving. And I'll tell you why this is an important strategy, because we addicts, we want to do it our way. For so long, my spiritual advisor was guiding me for almost a decade before I got handcuffs put on my wrist and I was humiliated completely and finally surrendered and listened to my spiritual advisor. But he kept on telling me for years what to do. He kept giving me his suggestions of what to do. He'd like the word suggestion more than telling me. But in essence, a suggestion is a subtle command. So if you get a suggestion from someone who's been where you're at, it's a subtle command. Keep that in mind. But he was suggesting and telling me what to do. But whose suggestions do you think I took? My suggestions. And when I took my suggestions, he kept telling me what's going to happen because of my suggestions. And then he'd tell me what's going to happen with his suggestions. But I always took my suggestions. You know why? I wasn't done. I wasn't done. Yes, he was a mentor, but I wasn't done. See, I needed to be done, and I needed the mentorship. I needed to get honest, and then I needed to be open-minded to an entirely new way of living, thinking, and behaving. My way wasn't working. Is your way working? Is it really working? Negotiating with sex addiction. How's that working for you? Being in denial. Are you feeling better because you're in denial? Convincing yourself it's really not that bad. You're not a sex addict. You convince yourself of that, but yet you just can't turn the computer off because you're watching porn all night, or you're cruising, you're hitting the sex clubs, you're hiring a prostitute, excessive masturbation, whatever it is. How's it working for you? So if you stay in denial, well, if that works for you, great, but it won't work. It won't work. You will fail. You must be open-minded to an entirely new design of living, thinking, and behaving, because yours doesn't work. Yours doesn't work. That's why you find someone who has what you want, who's been where you are. You do what they do, and you'll get what they have. It's very, 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 very simple. That's in your mentorship. And the fifth strategy, last but not least, is willingness. Change and transformation from sex addiction to a life of freedom is not for those who need it. It's not for those who want it. Sure, a lot of people need it and want it, but it is for those who are willing to do what it takes to get it. What's your willingness level? Are you so done that you're willing to do whatever it takes? And I'm going to tell you one of the things it takes. It takes commitment to your commitment, because it's going to be uncomfortable. Because sex addiction is about the brain releasing chemicals that you become physiologically addicted to, like dopamine, for example, and you get a high off it from certain sexual behaviors. So when you give up those behaviors, you're giving up the drugs from the brain that you're addicted to. So you're going to go through withdrawal, insomnia, mood swings, anger, frustration, possibly depression. Are you willing to go through the discomfort? So on the other side, life will be wonderful. Are you willing to go through the pain? Are you willing to stick to your commitment? Are you willing to be honest? Are you willing to bring all of this to the light with a mentor or in some sort of mentorship program? Are you willing to do whatever it takes so your life can be free from the horrific grip of sex addiction? Are you done? Are you willing to take on a mentor that can guide you there? Are you going to be honest in all of your affairs? Are you going to be open-minded for an entirely new design of living? And are you willing to do what it takes? If you have these 5 strategies, you will be well on your way to a life free from that horrific grip of sex addiction. There is a way out, and there is a wonderful life on the other side, the sober side from sex addiction. I hope that you are at a place right now, if you watch this entire video, that you're at a place where you are ready. And these 5 strategies are going to start the process of getting you there. If you like this video or it resonated with you, please hit the thumbs up. The more thumbs up you give me and the more people who subscribe, and I hope that you'll subscribe to my channel. Every Tuesday I have a new video lesson for you on breaking free from sex addiction. But the more thumbs up, likes I get, and the more subscribers I get, the algorithm in YouTube kind of brings me a little bit more to the forefront, and I'm able to help more and more people. So if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel. And also, very important, I would love to hear from you. I would love if you could throw a comment and I can hear about what in this video sat well with you, what resonated with you, where are you at right now in these 5 strategies, and if you have any questions or if you have any thoughts about what you'd like in any of my future videos, please feel free to throw it in the comments. I have over a decade free from the grip of sex addiction, and I would love to use all my experience, strength, and hope to help you transform your life from active addiction to a life sober and free.